Listeners today, and call to order this Paramedic Services Committee to order. The first order of business is a declaration of pecuniary interest, and I'll remind you of your responsibility to do so. And undeclared, then today we have two action items. The first is the 2016 Provincial Base Funding Adjustment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first one, before you, we've been notified by the Ministry of Health and a letter from the Honourable Eric Hoskins of a planned increase in our provincial grant. Typically this happens early in the year. We usually find out April, May, a lot more delayed this year. But we're a grant of up to $137,502. So I'm requesting that we can transfer this into reserves. It'll bring our provincial contribution of $5,165,989 up to $5,303,491. And we did receive a second letter exactly how that breakdown works down just yesterday. But it sounds like we'll get that full amount from what I can tell.
So the recommendation is moved by Mitch and a seconder, Robert. Any discussion on the recommendation? I'll read it then. The recommendation is that the 2015 Provincial Base Funding Adjustment Report be received for information, and that the approximate amount of $137,502 be placed in capital reserves for future projects. If there's no questions, then all in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. The next item then is the report on the 5-year capital plan.
Okay, thank you again. So our 5-year capital budget presented to you again for consideration in conjunction with our 2017 operating budget. Basically, it's in line with our previous department heads template. Some key areas that I'm asking for a little bit more funding, and I'll go through it here in a second. Just to reiterate the vehicle replacements, my power load type stretcher program, suction units need to be replaced, and possibly a building reserve fund for consideration. Working through the 2017 capital, sale of capital assets, we're hoping to sell 2 ambulances. Typically we do that each year, approximately $2,500 each, and 1 ERV at $1,000 for $6,000. I'd like to transfer from reserves approximately $135,000. Some is for the suction units and possibly for this power load stretcher unit system. So as far as expenditures, most of that $42,000 is for the suction units, and then the typical things that we ask for every year, some oxygen equipment, backboard straps to maintain our equipment. The power load system in the next line is a newer item. What it is to it works almost like a forklift type system is what we're looking at to decrease the load on our paramedics and getting the stretchers into the back of the ambulance. We're not looking at doing all of them all at once. We're going to phase this sort of program in, and I can present more on this with a bit more of a business plan later at another meeting. And part of that also is for 2 new stair chairs. We're starting to replace those every 2 years. As we get vehicles, we'll replace the stair chairs at the same time to make sure that they're working, functioning. The ones we've had have been in service for quite a long time, so we'd like to phase those in. Computer replacements in the stations, about $7,500. They haven't been replaced in a while. We've had one that had to be rebuilt this year, and they're going to actually try and rebuild 3 others to get them through. But they do need to be looked at next year to be replaced in most of the stations. For vehicles, 2 ambulances and 1 ERV at a cost of about $350,000. We're trying to stick to a 6-year cycle of replacing our vehicles, so 2 ambulances every year and then every other year 1 ERV. Last year we should have replaced 1309, the 1 minivan, but that was delayed, but it really does need to get replaced next year. Furniture and fixtures has been in there each year, $7,500 to replace those sorts of things. And then the next bigger ask that I have in here, about $227,000. Some of that, about to the tune of about $77,000, is the typical things that we've had in there before. A reserve fund for defibrillators, so they're replaced on 7 years. Public access defibs, we put some money away. Suction units, equipment bags, and mannequins, we put money away each year to help fund those as they come for replacement. And then I'm asking for about $150,000 for a building reserve fund. Next year, the lease is due again in the Port Elgin station. We're going to have to consider what options are there. Last time we had done a short-term lease on the Port Elgin station. Really no action got taken, so we're back to that point. 2 years has come up and we need to do something with that. So we have to figure out what we're going to do, and if it's going to be leasing again, then that's fine, but if not, we may have to look at other options. So I think it would be important to start a building replacement reserve. Not necessarily even for Port Elgin. Down the road, there could be other stations coming up, so I think it's something we should start planning for now and putting some money away for it. And the last item for transfer is some vehicle laptop replacement reserve, and that's typically, we do that every year as well, so when we replace the vehicle laptops, there's money there to do that. Emergency management side, smaller budget. No transferring from reserves. There's no major capital things that we're looking at next year. I think if I'm asking for about $3,000 to replace some radio equipment that is in the emergency management trailer. It's been there for a long time, is getting outdated. For sure some of the batteries are going to need to be replaced soon if we're going to maintain that. So we should start putting money away for that. And then we also asked for money for the laptop replacements for all the emergency management stuff to run the things like WebEOC, or when we have to upstaff the emergency operations center, and they're used in here. So, are there any questions on that?
So there's a recommendation there with that the Paramedic Services Department Capital Budget Report dated August 4th, 2016 be received for consideration in conjunction with the 2017 operating budget. I have a mover and a seconder. Moved by David, seconded by Ann. Is there any questions for Ray? Start here. Milt?
Yeah, just so I understand this thing here. Ray?
Yeah.
So I'm just on the capital, that one right there. Yes. So you go to 2016, the approved 2016, the bottom line. What is that?
Bottom line.
So what was approved for 2016? 347?
Yes, 347.
So
yeah.
in 2016, we're going to 861?
Yes, it is higher. I'm asking to start putting money away, and a lot of the big ask there is the power load system. It's almost $300,000. And then putting money away for a building reserve fund. So it brings it up almost 500,000.
That increase continues through
and then I'm trying to maintain that. So consistently there, this year I'm only asking for 150,000 for a building reserve, but to put more money away in the consecutive years. Most of that 300, 375 in those lines is to contribute higher amounts and then keep that line approximately that much.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I was understanding
okay.
that. Thank you.
Was there any other further questions?
Okay.
Okay. Paul?
The building reserve, I think you see the calls in the stations, and I hope someday the County of Bruce will own our own EMS station in Port Elgin, or in Saugeen Shores, I should say. Leasing one there that's very tight, and it's done a good job, but I mean, EMS will always be in Saugeen Shores, and I think we do need to get serious about owning our own station somewhere there rather than just leasing forever and a day. Especially the one, like I say, the one leasing's done a good job, but we've outgrown it. It's very tight. It's very crowded. It's in the center of town. So whether we need to put money, start putting money away to build a permanent home for ourselves in Saugeen Shores or not, or we just look at debenturing at the time, because I too, when Milt brought these numbers, I had to look twice to see if I was believing what I was seeing, but apparently I was. So, but we do need to get serious about owning our own station in Saugeen Shores instead of just paying lease and lease and lease. Mm-hmm. But that we have to renew for another couple of years because it's going to take us that long. I know Saugeen Shores is wrestling or considering an expansion, and we committed a couple of years ago to, if Saugeen Shores wants us to partner with them, if they're not correct, Mike, did we not say we would be part of a planning process with Saugeen Shores if you're expanding your police station?
I know that we made any commitment, but we said certainly would entertain it, and that option is still. I don't want to interrupt you, but we are going through the process now of identifying whether we need a new police station, have some very good property locations and what the needs will be. And I think it would be an opportunity for us to, again, to look perhaps with some cooperation, because we do have some really good property out there by the library. Yeah. Which. Any further questions? If not, then all in favor of the recommendation. That's carried. Next is an information item, and it's on the call volumes.
Make that one a bit bigger. Last one's information item. Just wanted to give you a breakdown of some of our calls. Up to for the first 6 months we've done this year. I did throw in the 2015 call volume as well, so you can compare them. We are down in our code 1 and 2 calls, which is kind of what we are hoping for. Those are the non-urgent calls. We're hoping there's non-urgent transportation services out there that are doing those sort of calls, keeps our vehicles in the county, and we're doing the merge calls. So it's good to see those numbers have come down again. Code 3 calls, almost the same as the year before. Code 4 calls also almost the same. Those are, code 3 are urgent calls but without our lights and sirens on, and code 4 would be a lights and sirens, sort of a life-threatening type of call. Code 8s are our standby calls. They're down a little bit, but that's partly due, I would believe, to some of our roaming deployments and how we're moving vehicles around a little bit. So rather than getting sent on standbys, we already have a vehicle moving in that area when a call comes in. So it's helping to make sure that we're in the appropriate places. So call volume in total is down a little bit, but it's been a busy month. July and August, I expect our numbers might be up again. It'll be interesting to see, and I'll try and do a similar report probably for Q3 so you can see how we've done after the summer months.
Thank you. Any questions on the information report? Go ahead.
About 3 years ago, I had requested coverage in Sauble Beach in the summer, just to have one ambulance stationed at our fire hall there, if at all possible. And at the time, the director didn't think that that was necessary. Our numbers are increasing rapidly, as they are throughout Bruce County. And of course, we had a tragedy 2 weeks ago in Sauble Beach South, and we had another near tragedy yesterday afternoon. And the response times are quite long, understandably, because they're all over the place. But I would like to ask if there's any chance that you could maybe review some of the current statistics and numbers, and maybe consider putting an ambulance in the Sauble Beach Fire Hall just for the summer months.
I can definitely look at the call volumes again. I know Doug had done that report. I can try and dig it up to see what it says, and then try and compare what numbers he had then compared to what's going on now.
Yeah, because a lot has changed,
yeah.
And I'd really appreciate it if you could do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do I need anything formal to ask that he maybe put a report together, or
Through you, Mr. Chair, we would do it, but we would include the entire county, so it would be part of the entire county.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, then a motion to adjourn. Milt, Ann, our next meeting will be September the 8th, 2016, and all in favor of adjourn. Thank you.